The battle lines over abortion rights just got a whole lot sharper in Washington. Senator John Kennedy stepped into the Judiciary Committee and let it rip, defending pro-life states, calling out the left and refusing to back down. If you think you've seen passion in politics, buckle up for this one. First off, Kennedy wasted no time. He slammed the left for their relentless attacks on the Supreme Court since the Dobbs decision. Remember when Senator Schumer stood on the steps and threatened Justices Gorsuch and Kavanaugh?
In 2022, as we're all aware, the United States Supreme Court returned the issue of abortion to the American people. It said to the American people, you decide what's right for your state on abortion, either through referendum or through your elected state representatives. So for the first time in decades, pro-abortion and anti-abortion Americans are now able to meet on equal terms without judicial interference to determine the laws as they see them being best for them, governing the issue of abortion. No longer will Americans have to live under a court-imposed definition. The American people get to decide.
Kennedy quoted him, word for word. "You will pay the price, you won't know what hit you." That's not just political theater, that's a warning shot at the very independence of the courts. Kennedy's point? The left is furious because the court put the power back in the hands of the people, not in the pockets of DC elites. But that was just the start.
Now, that has upset some of my colleagues here in Washington. It was and is the genesis of a very organized effort that you see playing out today to undermine the United States Supreme Court as an institution. I remember it like it was yesterday. My colleague and my friend, Senator Schumer, stood on the steps of the United States Supreme Court. And this is what he said, I quote, "I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, not Justice Gorsuch, not Justice Kavanaugh, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind." He was talking about the Dobbs decision. "And you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions." End quote. Wow.
Kennedy took the gloves off against S.71, the so-called Women's Health Protection Act. Let me be clear, this bill would legalize abortion up to the day before birth. No restrictions, no parental notification, nothing. Kennedy didn't let that slide. He compared it with Senator Graham's 15-week compromise, a bill that nearly 60% of Americans support. So why did the left block it?
Some people do not want any regulation of abortion. I get that. This is America. You can believe what you want. In fact, some of my colleagues have endorsed a bill. It's S-701. It's called the Women's Health Protection Act. This would allow the right to terminate a pregnancy after viability. Basically terminate a pregnancy at any time for any reason. The day before a baby is born, a mother could decide to terminate that pregnancy for whatever reason. She doesn't have to give a reason. Maybe she's changed her mind about having a baby. Maybe she's not happy with the baby's gender, but it would be legal. I think every one of my Democratic colleagues on the Judiciary Committee has co-sponsored that legislation. I respectfully disagree with him. Last Congress, Senator Graham had what I thought was a very modest bill. It's called Protecting the Pain-Capable Unborn Children from Late-Term Abortions Act. I'll tell you what it would have done. It would have limited abortion to 15 weeks, except when necessary to save the mother's life or in cases of rape or incest. And we never voted on that bill, but I think most fair-minded people would call that fairly modest, middle-of-the-road approach. But it was blocked.
Because, as Kennedy said, they want zero limits. Speaking of Americans, Kennedy brought the receipts. Poll after poll shows most people want reasonable limits on abortion, not the extreme abortion-on-demand agenda the left is pushing. 60% want abortion limited to the first trimester, 86% oppose sex-selective abortions, and the majority? They reject abortions based on disabilities like Down syndrome.
The American people know how they feel, I can tell you that, and if we will allow them, they will make this decision for themselves. Most Americans, most fair-minded Americans, support reasonable regulation of abortion. Not unfettered discretion, not using abortion for birth control. Reasonable regulation of abortion. I was looking recently at a recent poll from January, 6 in 10 Americans support limiting abortion to the first 3 months. Now, I don't know if that's the right answer or the wrong answer. It's not my place to say. People of each state get to say. But I'm just telling you, in this credible poll, 6 in 10 say they support limiting abortion to the first 3 months. 6 out of 10 Americans oppose abortion because of a child's Down syndrome diagnosis. 86% of Americans oppose sex-selective abortions. You abort the child because you change your mind about your gender preference. I can't imagine that's not 100%, but 86% is still pretty high. We may hear a lot of rhetoric today about assault, particularly Republicans' assault on abortion and on women's health care. When you hear those words, I want you to substitute what those words really mean. That is that some of my colleagues want to tell the American people from on high exactly what the rules ought to be about abortion in America. And they're so angry at the United States Supreme Court for returning this issue to the American people that they're willing to destroy that court. Now, you don't have to be Mensa material to understand that is what this is all about. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Kennedy's bottom line: the real assault isn't on abortion, it's on democracy. The left wants Washington elites to decide for everyone. Kennedy wants you, the people, to have the final say. So, who do you trust with the future of these laws? Politicians in D.C. or the voters in pro-life states? Let me know what you think in the comments. Smash that like button if you agree with Kennedy, hit subscribe for more uncensored coverage, and share this video to help set the record straight. This is Capital Conservatives, signing off.